everyone involved in the Oak Island universe is that type of person. You guys, I can tell you're that type of person. You hear a story like this, you latch onto it like a dog, and you're just like, let's go. And yes, it's frustrating. And yes, you want it to be solved tomorrow. And yes, who doesn't want to find a chest of gold? Of course we do. Of course, everyone does. But it doesn't work like that sometimes. These things are hard. And so it's taking what it's taking. And that is, in this case, 10 years.
Right. How does it affect us in changing of the history or getting down to the nitty gritty of the history?
It won't change history. It will explain.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
It will explain parts of North American history you've never thought about.
See, I can't. The History Channel could not have come up with a better teaser than we just did right here. So I tell you what, stay tuned, folks, because this is going to be a good one. I can't wait.
This is Robert Clotworthy, the narrator of The Curse of Oak Island. And I have a question for you. Could it be that you are listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream?
This is a top pocket find, mate, for sure.
Hey everybody, Jeff here with The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream and J-Free 906, and we got a little bit of a change up tonight. I'm going to bring in the the one guest I've got here so far, Mr. Tony Sampson. How you doing tonight, sir?
Good. Thanks, Jeff.
Well, we had a little bit of a change up again. I know last week, folks, when we were trying to do this show, I was under the weather and I had to postpone it. And now we have a situation where Barry and Brandon Barry was in Delaware today, and he was out all day long. He was really busy today, and unfortunately, he couldn't make it for this evening. Kind of a last minute change with Brandon. So we have Tony Sampson. Hey, that's a great thing, right? So Tony, we're just going to kind of talk about the Whydah a little bit, and maybe a few of the other things that Tony has going on. So thank you for coming on, Tony. I know you're like not at home right now.
No, I'm actually in a hotel where we're doing the Halifax boat show. So in fact, we were talking about pirates and shipwrecks and treasure all day.
So you're all primed up for this then. Oh man, that's really good. So so you were, let's talk about the Whydah a little bit anyway. So there we had the very first show, and you and Maddie Blake were out there. I believe Rick was there with you too on the first one. And you guys found some interesting things. You found they call it an 8 real. Is that what that's called? An 8 real?
Yep. Spanish 8 real. It was beautiful, actually. It was Lima minted. So a lovely coin. And same thing again, because of the medium it was in, it actually came out in great shape. Similar to those coins I showed you the other week, Jeff.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that. And that's something that Barry kind of explained a little bit, because it was in a layer there covered up and not getting, all the elements on it. I guess you could come to say that's why it was preserved so well. Because normally when you bring those up, they're black or got incrustation on them and stuff like that. But I think it looked great, quite honestly.
As long as they're not touching another metal as well, Jeff. The more, obviously, if they're touching another metal, it gives you... Same as what you do when you put an anode on an outboard motor. The anode will sacrifice itself, the more noble metal, and that'll happen with gold and silver as well.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting because and then you found that little plate, and I got a picture of it. I'll share that with everyone real quick. It was really interesting, and I know that. Barry talked about this little piece right here quite a bit and how interesting it was to him. And he called it an escutcheon plate. Is that like goes on a gun of some sort?
Yeah, a flintlock pistol. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And so, the symbol on the top there is very interesting. So not only do you have the rose, but you have that symbol on the top as well. And it's there's so many different theories as to what that is. Some people say it's the four winds. Others say no, it's the devil. But if you actually look at the top of it, it's also the fleur de lis as well.
The what was that again? Say that again.
The fleur de lis, the French symbol.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
if you look at anything long enough, you'll see different things, come out. But
Right.
so all these, some of them are on the butts of the flintlock pistols, and some of them are actually on the side to, just to pretty them up.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And he was talking about the fact that he thought that it had something to do with the Jacobites.
Yes.
And then, and then he got into how Black Sam Bellamy was able to, he liberated quite a few people that were slaves, and offered them to come and work for him on his ships. I guess he had more than one, obviously, if I remember the story correctly.
Well, the Widow was a slave ship, so Sam freed the slaves,
Mhm.
and a lot of them stayed with him. And it was the perfect democracy. I think we've talked about this before. Everybody was equal: one man, one share, one vote on board the ship. And the youngest pirate on board was John King. He was only 11 years old. And so Barry actually found his, he was crushed by one of the cannons. So his little femur and his shoes and stockings and that. And then that's in the museum in Cape Cod there. And I noticed Renee came across with a question there.
Okay.
How long did it take to become encrusted? Things don't necessarily become encrusted. If they're open to the elements, then yes, they do. But if something's in an anaerobic environment, say between two bits of wood or sandwiched in a silt layer, they can come out of the ocean looking like the same day they went in.
Wow. Yep. Yeah, I remember we talked about that on the first show. We also, talked about the fact that, he had, like you called it, the first like insurance, health insurance program, which I was fascinated by that. I thought that was really not only I something I never knew before, but also really a great thing on his part to bring everybody in with part of, he shared everything with everyone in that respect, and then he took care of them as well. That tells you about the thing. Like we talked about before, everybody thinks of pirates or, ruthless and all this kind of stuff, when in fact that's not really the case in most cases with them.
Yeah. And I mean, just, with the speech that he gave when he raided that British ship, and it was written down by the first mate of the British ship when he captured it. And, basically the captain was like, you, to Sam Bellamy, he said, you are just a thief and, a pirate, a brigand, and Bellamy turned back and said, no, he goes, I, sir, am a free prince, as are all my men on board the ship. You, sir, are the thief, a thief for your king.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's actually true. And
Yeah.
plus the slavery, this being a slave ship and all of that as well. So yeah, that's an interesting story. So anyway, you guys go back out a second time, this time with just Maddie. Everybody else stayed behind. And you went out, dove, and the first day you went down and you dove and you actually got a couple of, and I know the editing of these things that, it may not be exactly the way, it may not have taken place exactly the way we saw it on the show. But after the first dive, the wind kicked up, hard to keep the boat in the same spot, and you had to call it a day. And then you went out a second day, and you could just see the look on your faces. It's like, you just hated to not be able to dive again, right?
Yeah, it's an occupational hazard, Jeff. I mean,
Mhm.
you're out there, and not only are you dealing with, the wind conditions, but you've got the direction of the wind as well, the tides, the currents, the sharks, the mungweed. It's yeah, all kinds
Yeah,
of stuff.
you made that comment about it was like swimming in salad with all
Yeah,
that mungweed around.
yeah.
I can't imagine. That's crazy. Here's a good question for you right here. I heard a story about the pirates would wear a gold earring or necklace to pay for their burial. Is that true?
Again, it's stories as well. Some people said the pirates' pierced ears were actually for shipwreck, and obviously the tattoos all meant something as well. And different nationalities, they would have things for different meanings as well. And so it was like, placing the pennies on a dead man's eyes were to pay the ferryman, to take him to the other side.
Right.
And, with pirates, obviously with the health insurance, if they lost an arm or an eye, they actually got a dollar figure or a figure of treasure. So every body part was worth so much money.
Wow. That's really a very interesting. I never knew that until you had mentioned it the last time you were on, and I really I admire that. I really do. That takes them from that level of, like I mentioned earlier, when you think of pirates just being, the scum of the earth or whatever, to a whole different level of people. And we know that we know that a lot of them were very highly educated, of the time. And so they weren't just a ragtag. In some cases, they picked up people that were, but I mean, overall, that wasn't the case with them at all. They were highly educated and obviously took care of their people. In most cases, took care of their people too. So I've heard the same thing with the pirate Ari down in Florida area, or down here in this area, I should say. Um, and many of them, have that same kind of a background that we've heard. And folks, I wanted to say Tony can't stay too long. He's had a long, hard day today, and so he's just going to spend a few minutes with us. And so, if you do have a question for him, please ask. So while he's here with us,
Yeah, I see Mark's got one there, Jeff.
Yes.
How deep are they diving, and do they have to do any decompression for their dives? And on this particular dive, no. You see, there's a reason these ships wreck, and it's the same as the Atocha down off Key West. These sandbars, they can be miles offshore, and what happens is, in a storm, the waves are so big, they literally pick the ship up and pound it to pieces on the sandbar. So sometimes you're only diving, the water depth is only 20 to 25 feet deep. But in saying that, the sand is another 25 feet deep. So you've actually got to blow or dust the hole in the sand. And that's what you saw. We were using that deflector plate off the Vast Explorer to dust the sand away. And so that gave us another 10, 15 feet down to the bottom.
Yeah. That's such an interesting process too. And I'm going to let the people just continue to ask questions of you, if you don't mind.
Sure, man.
Was there a black flag or red flag pirates?
There were both. And it wasn't just the skull and crossbones. There was many different types of pirate flags. Sometimes it was a skeleton holding an hourglass. Other times it was a skeleton holding a heart. Some were red, some were black. There were all different versions of the pirate flags.
Let's see. I see there's a couple more. There's one for you. What about the stories of walking the plank? Is that true?
Very good question. I think it's more fanciful than anything else. But it comes from somewhere. Did it come from Robert Louis Stevenson and Treasure Island? I don't know. There was some really brutal punishments though, and so there were some brutal pirates. Ned Lowe being one, and I won't even tell you what he used to do to some of his captives. But it was brutal. But then again, the navies were no better. So the British Navy, the French Navy, the Spanish Navy, Portuguese, they would actually steal people. They had a press gang, and they would go into the bars and taverns and kidnap people, and you woke up when you came to in the Navy.
Yeah. I'm glad they don't do it like that now, but I was in the Navy. I served in the United States Navy for a while, and enjoyed my time in service and all of that. But I'm glad I volunteered and not got lumped over the head or something in my drink and carried off and wake up on a ship somewhere. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. What was your favorite thing you found when hunting for treasure? That's one of the questions out there.
Oh, it's everything's got a different meaning, but gold coins are beautiful. You'll always remember your first gold coin, and your heart rate goes from 50 to 150. But everything, it's not just the gold and the silver that's treasure. Sometimes you'll find something that's personal, or something that means something to you. Like, I love the old marmalade jars, the crockery marmalade jars. And one of my buddies, Dana, he loves the porcelain toothpaste holders. And, and the clay sailor's pipes, they always, touch me as well. To think, who was the last person that had this?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So when diving, does it mess with your vision or make you see things that aren't there? When diving,
depends on how deep you go.
Yeah, that's what he's asking. Yeah, deep. Yeah.
The deeper you go, it's like in the old days, we used to call it the rule of Scotch or the rule of martinis. And that's for every 33 feet you go down. It's like having a shot. And that's because it's another atmosphere of pressure. So at 100 feet, it's 4 atmospheres of pressure. So it's like working after you've had 4 shots. So that's why everything's got to be slow and meticulous. And so what you try and do is if you're blending gases, you take nitrogen out of your breathing gas, and you can put something like helium in. But that's for greater depths. The dives we're doing on these wrecks is not deep.
Yeah. Will you go back to Cape Cod and dive again with Barry and his group?
I was on the phone this evening to Barry, and Barry was saying he would love for me and my family to go back down there and hang out, do some dives with him and Brandon. Whether it'll be for the TV show, I don't know. It's TV land is TV land, and one minute they love you, the next minute they hate you.
Yeah. I was going to say with that, it would almost be better to go without the TV crew, because then you can dive and do your own plan rather than trying to fit the scene for everybody. And I think it would be easier and a lot more fun, quite honestly, to go without the TV crew.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, but in saying that, I mean, the team that we've got to work with over the years is fantastic. And, I'm very, very, very fortunate. I'm one of, there's only me and Charles that have been on the Curse of Oak Island there since season 1. So this was 10 years for us last year. Obviously, apart from Rick and Marty and the family.
Right.
But
yep. Yeah. And at least if you could stay out of the swamp a little bit. I know you pushed the dinghy around a little bit earlier in the episode with the guys on it that were scanning. But the first season, when you were like laying in it and crawling around in the muck and everything, oh my gosh, and pulled up that big piece of plank wood. It was like 17 feet long, right? Big long piece of wood you found down there and all that. But that's the part of diving that doesn't seem all that great to me, swimming around in the muck.
No, yeah, it's not that bad. I've been in much worse places.
Does it smell as bad as people say it does?
No.
As they say on the show? No.
Well, I mean, I'm used to it. So
yeah.
The interesting thing though is if you step or disturb a pocket, you can actually smell the sulfur. It's like I won't say H2S because H2S is meant to be odorless. Yeah, but you can actually smell the rotting material in places. So you'll get that sulfur smell when you stand through a pocket or push through a pocket.
Right. Wow. Let's see. Facebook user. I'm not sure who this was. I'll try to get a name for you. But I heard stories that they would change flags to confuse vessels at sea. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that was Sharon. Okay, thank you, Sharon.
Cool. So quite often, they would fly a different country's flag as well. And you've got to remember, privateers and pirates. A privateer was just a pirate with a piece of paper from their government. So when you look at privateers, you've got guys like Peter Easton, obviously, Sir Francis Drake, Sir Walter Raleigh. They were all privateers. So they were private pirates for Queen Elizabeth I.
Yep. And you let me know when you're ready to go. So I know it's. Yep. So let's see. What's this? Hello, Jeff and Tony. How is? Oops. Let's take that one there that just popped up. What do you do to pass the time as you surface? I can't imagine just floating for minutes, doing naught but waiting. I think that would be if you're at depths where you have to come up at different.
Exactly. So if you have to do your decompression stops or safety stop, so a safety stop is just 3 minutes or 15 feet, but your decompression stops, you might have to do a bunch of them on the way up, and that's your hang time. You just hang there and process over the dive and what went on and the things you saw. And I mean, if you look at the deeper dives, like I remember one I was down at about 250 feet. And, my dive time on the bottom was 20 minutes, but the total dive time was about 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 40 minutes or something. And so the rest of it is hang time.
Wow. And that seems like, unfortunately, that's one of the things too that you must do for safety's sake and for health wise, you have to do that. But yet you think about the time and the air that you're carrying with you down there, and you only get to spend 20 minutes on the bottom, and the rest of the time is going up or coming down. It seems like, you know, I was going to say a waste. It's not a waste, but I mean, still, it's like, boy, you'd want to spend that couple hours down there or an hour down there and then an hour back or something like that. But boy, it's the other way around, isn't it?
And I mean, there's different ways of doing things. I mean, you can do bell diving. So you go down in a diving bell, you get out of the bell, you do your job, you come back in the bell. And for great depths, you can be in that bell for another week afterwards, decompressing. But the other thing you can do is, like on those deep dives, that 250 footer, you're not actually breathing the same gas the whole time. You've got a travel mix to go down, and then you'll change from, say, a 40%, and then you'll get down to, say, 70 feet or 90 feet, and then you'll change to your back gas that might be trimix. And then you'll do your dive on the back gas, and then you'll come back on your travel mix, and then you'll have O2 at the surface. Because some of those gases, especially a mix that you're using at 200 feet, is hypoxic at the surface, so you'll black out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can imagine. Wow. There's so much to this that most of us have no idea whatsoever. I mean, I think I've told you that once before. I dove once in my whole life. I've lots of snorkeling and things like that. But I actually went diving one time in my life, and it was actually over in Vietnam. And of course, it was not set up in such a way where safety was, a big factor. It was still, I had a great time. I really enjoyed it. And that getting used to the fact of the breathing the way you are, you're underwater and you're taking a breath, and that initial, oh my goodness, what do you do? And then once you get past that, I relaxed and really enjoyed it. But I had a great time, but, and that's the only one. And I'd love to get certified to dive again and dive more in the future. Like, we know Maddie has, but again, Maddie is relatively, I don't know how now, of course, this was a while back when he talked about diving and getting his certification to go down, but he stays away from the difficult dives because being a novice. And with your experience, and somebody had asked that question, how long, Cliff just did, how long have you been diving?
41 years this year.
Wow. That's awesome. And what's the deepest you've gone?
That 256, that was the deepest. Yeah.
Wow. Can you tell us what you were diving on? Is that something you can talk about, or?
That was just a research dive. So, I did a couple of, I did a few dives to that depth. Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot. Can you dive too quickly? There's a good question.
You can come up too quickly. Yes, definitely.
How about going down? Is that a problem?
If you go down and you don't clear your ears, you can burst an eardrum. Yes.
Yeah, that would not be good. There you go. Was any part of the swamp too deep to walk through?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It depends. When it's drained, no.
Right.
But otherwise, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what people see you flapping around in the swamp, and they think it's just a shallow swamp. But you actually have to pull yourself down through the roots sometimes.
Interesting. Somebody asked a question over on the YouTube site here about, this is Mary Williams asked about your newest, how is the newest Salty Dog Captain?
Oh, I've got, I had two new ones this year. So Jade and Kevin, they were both awesome. They were fantastic.
Great. How many boats do you have now in your Salty Dog Sea Tours?
We have 4 of the Tritoon boats, and we have an aluminium dive boat as well, and the inflatables that you see we use in the swamp and also around the
those
island.
are yours. Okay. Wow. You got quite the enterprise going. And I encourage folks, if you go to Nova Scotia, and if you're going to go to Mahone Bay area, you have to go and take a tour of Salty Dog Sea Tours. I have not been up there yet, and I have not done it. But I tell you, Tom and Henry have both, and they got to meet Tony. And I've forgotten the name of the guy that was with you at that time, but you actually conducted their tour, and they both came back, huge smiles, and they just could not stop talking about their time that they had with you. That was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to mine. But folks, if you go up there, you Jade, okay, yeah, Jade.
Yeah, Jade's
that's
awesome. Yeah, both Jade and Kevin are fantastic. I'm so fortunate to have them. Jade actually used to work on the Blue Nose, so the
Oh,
big
really?
sailing ship.
Mhm.
And Kevin's also a diver. In fact, Jade's a diver too. And so Kevin used to teach diving in the Philippines, and he's a great asset. He speaks Spanish and Filipino as well.
Really? Wow. That's great. Yeah, so that's really neat. I'm glad that that's going well for you. And I know 2020 probably with the pandemic came out, it probably, really hurt matters, and a lot of companies didn't survive the downturn of, business of the economy. But I'm glad that you did, and you were able to make it through that and continue going. So,
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. I'm happy too.
yeah, I
So
bet
is
you
my
are.
wife and daughter.
Yeah, and it allows you to do what you're doing. So, yeah. So Mahone Bay is a hot spot for great white sharks. Do you do dive lessons there?
Yes, I do. In fact, I just taught my daughter to dive there.
Ah, yeah. She's going to carry on the Sampson diving name, I think, and just follow. That would be awesome. How old is she now?
She's 12, Jeff.
So, at some point, I can't wait to see, because I think, and we may touch on this a little bit before you go, but there's some of the other things that you've been doing, and it would be so cool, or it must be for you to have her, and she will be able to join you in some of this adventure. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, she's actually she's been snorkeling with me for a few years now. We snorkeled with the sharks out in the Dominican Republic. We were down snorkeling on the Barrier Reef together with the stingrays. So, and this year she was diving with me. So she's
Wow.
really excited to come down to Key West and dive with me down there.
Wow. Yeah, I can only imagine. Maybe she will get to go and dive on with the Atocha and the Whydah and all this
I
kind of
hope
stuff.
so. I'll give Mel a call when I'm down there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah. Melvin, yeah, he's a great guy. I was so happy to meet him when I went down. I didn't go down to Key West store. I was at the Sebastian store there and met him, and he took us in the back and everything. It was awesome. I what a nice guy. He truly is good people. That's for
He's
sure.
amazing.
Yep.
Oh, come on in, guys.
Uh-oh. Time to go?
Oh, hang on, mate. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay. All right. All right. So I tell you what, folks, keep the questions coming if you want, and we can talk a little bit. I didn't want to talk too much about the Whydah, simply because we don't have Barry and Brandon here. But because I want to be able to cover that again with them at some point, so that they can. Oh. You got
Look
dinner?
at that. One of my buddies came and saved my life.
All right. That's great. All right. I was going to say, was that dinner that showed up too, or just the beer?
No, just beer. It was actually
Okay.
Captain Zach. So
Captain.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
he Captain Zach and Ryan skip at the dive barge quite often.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. That's great.
Yeah. And
Came through
they
for
were
you.
both on that new movie series we made, Secrets of the Sea.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I tell you what, I can't wait to watch some of this stuff. We'll get this question out of the way. See, how easy or hard will it be to refine the pottery you found off of Oderin Island and or Darren Island? I keep pronouncing or Darren Island.
Oh,
Uh,
Darren, yeah.
yeah. They must move. Do you leave any kind of a marker down there?
It's GPS, so it's similar to what you saw on the Whydah. You have a mark from your drop line, so be it so many feet, Leo, and it depends on the depth, how far things move. And so off O'Duran Island there, in that channel was fairly sheltered. So in 50, 60 feet of water, it won't go far. And to be honest, the bottom down there was a bit of a graveyard of bottles and stuff. So I think, it's basically been a dumping area for centuries.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're gonna have we're gonna be revisiting that at some point too. I know I've been talking to Bill Smith quite a bit, and so yeah, so we're gonna have that. They've got some interesting things going on, for sure, and I think that you are kind of part of that too. So can't wait to see more of that in the future. Secrets of the Sea was awesome. Oh, somebody got to watch it, Lori LeBlanc or Lori Lane LeBlanc.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
is that
Lorraine's she's a repeat person on Salty Dog. So Lorraine is awesome. She comes every year with her family.
Mhm.
Absolutely fantastic person. And she's been out with us out to the Blue Nose Chester Race Week. Oh my God, barbecues on the island. Yeah, she's a great person. She really is.
Well, I'm glad she's here with us tonight. That's great. So tell us a little bit about what you have going on that is not part of Oak Island, the TV show, or Beyond Oak Island.
So Secrets of the Sea, obviously, that
Mhm.
was one we did last year as well. So we did 4 episodes there on shipwrecks in Nova Scotia. So we did the SS Atlantic. She was White Star Line, same as the Titanic. We did the Clare Lily, an ammunition ship from World War II. We did a mystery wreck in Pictou Harbor that nobody knew what it was. It burnt to the waterline, and it's been there right in everybody's plain view
Wow.
for almost a century, and nobody knew what she was. And then the
Wow.
ghost ship, the teaser, the young teaser.
Right. Now these are all on a TV network that's up there, or
Yes,
in
it's Bell Network, but
okay.
a lot of people have asked, can they get it in the States? And at this stage, no. But when the Bell license runs out up here, I believe there may be an option to view it.
Oh, that would be great. I know many of us would love to see that. Especially because it involves somebody that we, and I say this, I was going to say somebody that we know. We don't really know you. I mean, but we feel like we do because we've watched you on TV so much. And of course, you've come on the show here with us. And so, that adds so much more to it for all of us, I know. Any chance that your show with Bell, oh, okay. Easton will be, let's see, what was that? Andrea Dawkins. Linda, can you bring that one back up real quick? I didn't know if that was something. Um, let's see if this. Oh, okay. um, what happened to it? Oh, okay, here it is. Here. Any chance of your own show with Bill, the Peter Easton, or at least a longer official archaeological investigation? Um, was the Newfoundland government interested now? Oh, okay. I guess.
That one will be on hold. Yeah. I would love to go back, and I would love to do something, another larger archaeological survey of that area. And it all depends. It's anytime you get governments involved or government entities, it's done with a lot of roaring and hissing, and takes 10 years to see any result. So I don't know. I'll hold off on that one. I would love for it to happen. And, it's such a great story. It's part of the Newfoundland history. And so to have both Tourism Newfoundland on board and to have the Newfoundland Archaeological Group on board would be absolutely fantastic.
I'm very interested in Murder Island. Do you have any theories as to what may have happened there?
Yeah, well, there's stories of Murder Island, Murder Point, and some of them place it on an island, and some of them place it across the water on another point. So it's it's like Covey Island with the bloody handprint that appears in the rock there. There's also another island off Oak Island where years and years and years ago, it was where the church used to send unmarried mothers. And there's a statue there of the Virgin Mary, and apparently the eyes weep when it rains. So there's all kinds of strange stuff around that area around Murder Island as well.
Yeah, Tom put a link up for CBC Live Radio. It has a yeah, there it is. There, the link. It has the pirate history of O'Darren Island. So yeah, if people want to check that out, that's where you can at least hear the. I guess it's audio only, probably, but that's if you want to hear it, that'd be great.
That was a radio show we did this morning for Newfoundland.
Oh wow, okay. See, that's again stuff that we we don't get to find out down here. So this, I just wanted to touch on this, and I told everybody while you were answering the door there that I want to kind of save a lot of the stuff we had about the Whydah, the new stuff, for when Barry and Brandon can join us again. And we'll try to get that rescheduled, and we'll let everybody know when they're not so busy. Hard to find that, of course. But at the end of the show, at the end of the season's Beyond Oak Island episodes, they went through and they talked about several different Beyond Oak Island episodes they had this season, and kind of went through some of them. That was the highlight. And they did have Barry and Brandon come back on, and they showed that they had gone out and had done a side scan sonar, and they came up with the ribs of a ship underwater. I think they believe that is the Whydah. I think they mentioned they don't know for sure, because I guess they didn't dive on it. It was just the scans. But they said it was about 100 feet long, and I think the Whydah was like 110, right? Something like that.
Yeah, that's very exciting stuff. So that new side scan that Barry and Brandon have is very exciting. So I would love to go back and dive on that. I believe that when me and Brandon were closer to shore, we may have actually found timbers that had been uncovered in part of a storm there. And I don't know if that one got showed on TV. But
no, it didn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No,
Nope.
me and Brandon did find timbers that, if it's not the Whydah, then, and this sounds crazy, but it's not just one shipwreck along that coast. There's multiple shipwrecks.
Right. Yeah. I can imagine. So, and it said that, and it looked like, and I know Barry was talking about this, or it might have been Brandon, but it looked like it was actually laying over on its side when it deteriorated and all that. Which
it looks like a perfect cross section.
Yes,
it really is, yeah.
Yeah, yes, it's exciting to go out and they use that process. And somebody had mentioned, I saw one of the questions earlier where they put the deflector down, and then they work that area, and I never dreamed that there would be, several feet of this stuff that is being blown off of there.
Oh, it's more than several. Sometimes it's up to 20 feet.
Wow, that's incredible. I remember when you were at the Atocha, and they did that with the mailboxes, and they blew that area out, and you said it was like just dunes,
It was like craters of the moon.
Yeah, that's incredible. And it gets down to that, but then you got all those different layers, and that's where the artifacts were going to be, down in those bottom layers right above the hard floor. And I remember again with the Atocha, you had that, it was like a hard surface of shells and whatnot down
and
there.
coral.
Yeah. Oh, coral. So, okay.
The interesting thing with that one as well is it's not just old stuff that's down there, Jeff. Like in the same area that we pulled the wafer or the coin out, I also found a 1 cent piece from the 1960s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So go figure. In the same hole, you've got a coin from 1622. You've got a 1 cent piece from the 1960s. And what happens, it's the same as if you can imagine, you drop a coin on top of the snow, and as it melts, it goes down and down and down and down. Well, the same in the sand. If a fisherman is out there and drops a coin or anything over the top, it sits on the sand, and the gentle rocking of the ocean and the storms, the heavier artifact sifts down to the bottom, and it can end up, and so that's what pollutes a site like that. You can have modern and old material at the same time.
Right. Wow. That's pretty crazy. And that makes sense why you guys were really looking in those holes, and you're reaching down into those. You got all this coral, and then you got these holes in the coral, and you're reaching down in those holes, because again, if it's not laying on that surface area of the coral, it would be in a hole too. You got to check every single one of those. That's
correct. Yeah.
Perfect.
And that's where the underwater metal detectors come in. The underwater metal detectors, the pinpointers, and so you'll run that over the area, and it'll light up and and vibrate and tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a new thing that I'm kind of getting into now. Really, a lot more now is metal detecting, not in the water, but on land. And Mark Hoover, who asked one of the first questions, he's taken me out and teaching me about using my new Garrett metal detector. And so I'm loving it. I'm actually
Excellent.
absolutely loving it. And I don't care. To me, if it's an artifact, I don't care if it's a chunk of steel or whatever. I'm digging it up, and I'm happy to find stuff, because all these little pieces of whatever they may be tell a story of some sort. And that's what I'm really interested in. Yeah. Do I want to pull out an old coin? Yes, everybody does. But I mean, just the artifacts are just amazing to find and cherish.
My daughter loves doing it with me as well. She found a beautiful brass horse brush from the 1850s.
Wow. See, that would be perfect. I would love to find something like that. That's amazing. That truly is. Robot's asking, Tony, can one dive and take lobster or spearfish around Oak Island?
No, my God, they'll crucify you. Yeah. No, our laws up here are very tight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you can't even really go metal detecting up there too much too. Cliff is asking, Tony, question: before you dive, do you have things that you have to prepare for the dive? Also, what about what do you eat and drink before I dive?
All your gear has to be checked, double checked, triple checked. And the same. I fill my own tanks, blend my own gas. I try not to eat or drink before a dive. I make sure I'm hydrated before I get in the water, though. Breathing an 80-foot cylinder of compressed air dehydrates you by about 1 liter. So it's you've got to keep hydrated.
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting. See, again, more things that I had no idea that was the case. So let me know if you got to go. I know you're hungry. So if we've been going about 42 minutes so far. So
for goodness sake, time flies.
I know, right? It really does. And I really don't want to hold you up. I'm really happy that you're here with us. Have you ever surprised any nasty moray lurking in a hole?
Yes. Yep. I actually got bitten by a moray once.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't the moray's fault. Yeah. And I didn't even know the moray was there. It was above me in a crack, and I had my arms up. I was adjusting the strobe on my underwater camera. And so I had my hand up here, and the moray just came and bit at my finger. Thank God I was wearing gloves, and it just it stripped the neoprene glove and just tore the flesh off the inside.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah. How about sharks?
Stingrays all the time. When we used to down in the South Pacific, you are allowed to dive for lobster, and so we were allowed 6 a day. And quite often you would disturb the giant Pacific stingray on the bottom in the kelp beds.
How about sharks? I mean, you talked about snorkeling with sharks and stuff. I'm like,
there's sharks everywhere. So this year in particular, we had a lot of sharks up around Nova Scotia, and the same round on the wreck of the Whydah. That is shark central. So tiger sharks, great white sharks, that area is polluted with them.
Wow. And I guess they don't really, I mean, you don't hear about, I didn't see other people like around, other boats around that were like protecting you guys while you were diving. I mean, and you got the camera guys down there with you and everything. So they're not that aggressive towards you, or?
They have drones up looking for the sharks. And it's one of those things. If the shark wants you, it'll take you. But we're not on their menu. They're after the seals, and sometimes if they do bite, once they hit the bone, they realize they can actually sense your calorific value, and it's like, no, this thing's too bony. We want a nice big fat seal. Yeah, but the hassle is a test bite from a great white shark can be fatal.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Look at that poor guy down in Mexico the other week who got his head bitten off.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I heard about that. Oh, I would love diving, but the whole thing with the sharks, yeah, I don't know. I'm that bothers me a lot. So
I mean, they're beautiful to see in the water. They really
I would imagine, yeah. But you see all the stories, I saw Jaws. I used to work at a movie theater when I was younger, and I actually showed Jaws. I was a projectionist up in the booth and showed that movie and watched Jaws. And then, of course, that right there is like, I'm never going out there. I'm not getting in the water. Oh, my goodness. What is the largest underwater creature you've ever come across?
When I was diving off Tonga, the humpback whales.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting. Did you get to? How close were you to it?
Reasonably close down there. The other one is different parts of the world. You have different things. Like off the west coast of Vancouver Island, you have a place called Hornby Island, and they're the giant Steller sea lions. You can dive with them, and they're like giant puppies. They'll come up and play with you. They'll grab your arm and pull it, and pull the regulator out of your mouth. My buddy Elwin's got an amazing image of a large female with my head in her mouth. She just came down and put her head over her mouth and squeezed my head.
Just playing though, right? I mean, that's
playing.
That's amazing. Renee asked, did they sing?
They are very interesting. I didn't hear them sing, but they'll make noises, yes. But one of them came up and put her little flippers around me. And it was like we were dancing underwater. I was scratching her belly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, there was a diver was with us, Bob. He was an awesome guy. And he was an local indigenous guy. And it was after that Kevin Costner movie came out, Dances with Wolves.
Oh, yeah.
And we got back to the service and Bob was so excited. And he's like, we're going to call you Dances with Seals.
I'm going to remember that. I'm going to write that down because I'm going to remember that. That's awesome. That's really a great story. Oh my gosh. Andrea again, Dawkins asked, have you seen a giant squid?
No, well, I don't believe I have. One night we were diving in the kelp off New Zealand, and it was me and another Canadian diver, Marty Smith. And again, we were out for lobsters. And we were right on the edge of a deep drop off, and we were on the edge of the kelp there, and looking around in the holes for the lobsters. And we shone our lights out, and it was just an opaque image outside the kelp off the drop off, and this huge eye looking back at us. So I've got no idea if it was an orca or a giant squid. Giant squid are very they can be very vicious. I mean, they used to grab onto and you probably saw that as well, Jeff, your sonar torpedoes that used to, not a torpedo as such, but the sonar drones used to drag. Yeah, they would have come up with suction cup marks on.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. I saw there was another one here. Oh, there you go. Come to Australia. Oh yeah, come to Australia. We have everything here: wrecks, sharks, and whales. There you go.
Yeah.
That was Deborah.
I love diving the barrier reef. Yeah.
Renee said I would have. Well, she soiled her wetsuit. Release the Kraken. Yeah, release the Kraken. Yeah. Is it true that catfish, especially, oh, there you go. Is it true the catfish, especially the dam, get large enough to swallow a man?
I've seen some pretty big ones, but I don't know about swallowing a man. The other thing is the sturgeon. You can get 8-foot sturgeon. They're huge. Yeah.
Wow. I wanted to ask a question myself, and I have talked with these young ladies in Nova Scotia before. They've been on the show with me when we were talking with, oh gosh, the guy that has the UFO museum down there. Down
by Shelburne.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Nudie Girls. It was funny because I was doing a show. We were talking about the UFO museum down there, and they were talking in chat. And I saw, because I'm always watching the chat, looking for posts for people that want you to come to their website and see things that, and I got to get rid of those right away. I'm getting spammed by them. Well, I'm doing the show and I see these things popping up, Nudie Girls. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here's people. And I'm deleting them. I'm trying to get them off there. Turns out, and I got to talk to them later and apologize, but they were the Nudie Girls, and they're a team of divers. They go out and Nudie is a small little sea creature. There's all kinds of them. They're beautiful little sea
Nudie
creatures.
brains. Yeah, nudie brains.
Yeah, and they're colorful. They're different shapes, and they're just wonderful. That's what they name themselves after that, the Nudie Girls, because they love to go and photograph these things. And so, have you had any interaction? Do you know them or know about them?
I don't know the girls, but yeah, nudie brains. Yeah, they're beautiful. They really are. We have a very good underwater photographer here called Wayne Joy, and if you just check him out on Facebook or Google. You'll see some of Wayne's images. I think it's deep perspective diving, he calls himself, but some of his nudibranch images are phenomenal.
Deep perspective diving. I got to write these things down because I always
Wayne Joyce, his name. Hell of a nice guy, ex-military as well. Awesome.
Wayne Joyce. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to definitely check that out. Check that out, folks. If you're into this kind of stuff, you definitely want to see that. Would you come back to Lake Champlain and look for Champ?
I would go and I dive anywhere for anything. If there's any sort of mystery or history or, even the chance of diving down and getting a fish, I'll do it.
Well, you've talked about in the past, you've talked about all the different shipwrecks that are in the area of Nova Scotia. And I would imagine all up in Newfoundland and all that whole area. I mean, and is that show that you said there was 4 parts to it out that you talked about earlier? Is that going to continue? Are you going to continue looking for different shipwrecks up there?
Hopefully. I mean, it's for what it's aired so far. Like Lorraine said, it was very popular initially, and it's still getting good views up here. And I'm hoping that it'll go out to other places eventually. And if we get picked up for another season, then I hope we go other places as well. I'd love to go back to Newfoundland. There's some great stories there I want to do. A couple of really, really interesting shipwrecks. In fact, our radio host this morning, a girl called Chrissy Holmes, she told me about one up in Newfoundland called the Water Witch. And it's a great story.
Oh, wow. I might have to look that up. Would you dive for Nessie? The water is freezing. Oh, Nessie and Loch Ness Monster?
Yep. I would go look for Nessie.
Have you gone over across the ocean and it worked in that area over there as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I used to dive up in the Orkney Islands at the top of Scotland there. Yeah. Oh, wow. And that was where the German World War I High Seas Fleet were interned. So the Karlsruhe, Crown Prince William, the block ships, it's marvelous. It really is. They're awesome dives. Yeah. And the Orkney Islands are such a beautiful place. They really are. So all around the south of England is where I grew up.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Before you came over. Yeah. You were telling me about that before. Have you ever dived for treasure with the the Maya sea notes? I'm going to bring this one up. Let's see. Treasure with the Maya sea notes of Mexico.
Oh, the Mayan cenotes.
Cenotes, thank you.
Yeah. So yes, I have a dove for I wasn't diving for treasure in the cenotes, but yes, I did dive the cenotes.
Wow. Let's see here. Out of curiosity, can Tony confirm or deny has he ever seen a UFOs entering or taken away from the water?
No. Okay,
so no UFOs.
Yeah, we've seen some strange stuff above the water. Maybe UFOs. It's very interesting at night. Sometimes when you're on the ocean, you see, because there's no artificial light, you can see the shooting stars, you can see the aircraft, and every now and again you see all kinds of weird stuff as well.
Yeah, I can attest to that from being in the Navy, and then going out when you're deep out at sea, and you walk out on the deck and on a clear night like that, and I have to say that it's amazing because when you're in, I don't care where you are in the like United States, you're not going to get the sight you will get when you're out at sea. And I was amazed when I saw that just from horizon to horizon, the dome of stars and everything. It's amazing because I never realized that you could see that many until you do when you're out at sea like that. And it's truly amazing. You never would imagine that there are so many stars and galaxies and whatnot that you can actually see. And then on the other token of that, if it's a cloudy night and you go out at sea, you can't see your hand in front of your face. It's so pitch dark, you cannot see anything. And they would have to have little red flashlights so we could find our way around to. Being out at sea is definitely a different experience, all of its own. have you ever seen a sea monster? Oh my gosh. What?
No, I've never seen a sea monster.
There you go. All right. I would imagine, because the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond Oak Island, you were really, I mean, to this year, we've seen a lot of you on the Curse of Oak Island. We've seen quite a bit of you on Beyond Oak Island, which is great. We'd love to see you on the show. How do you find time for the other stuff? I mean, they keep you pretty busy.
Yeah, it's especially with the charters as well. And it's my life now, and my family knows this. In the summer, I don't get a day off. So, hopefully the idea was that the winter was times when we would get away. But I noticed there was another question came up before. What's the dive season? We don't have a dive season. In fact, the best time to dive is the winter, because that's when the water is the coldest. And so all the particulate and the plankton that drops down. So the water is the clearest in the winter. So that's the best diving. But it's also like tonight, for want of a better word, they're calling it a polar vortex. So we've gone from -6 degrees Celsius to -26. And so with the wind chill, it's going to be -42 tonight.
Yeah, I know Tom Burns was talking about that earlier tonight. So, yeah,
I came in from into the hotel here, and it just walking across the car park, it just took your breath away. It was horrible.
Well, that's why I'm from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I'm a Uber, but I am currently down in Florida because I decided this year I was going to be a snowbird and come down here and spend the cold part of the year down here in Florida, where it's actually nice and warm. But yeah, I find that the older I get, the less I like to deal with the cold. So I'm going to stay down
what
here.
Was I thinking, Jeff? Of all the places I could have gone in the world, I ended up here.
Yeah, when you come over from England, you come over and you went to Nova Scotia. I mean, yeah, but look at the life you've had since. I mean, you talk about, like, right now I am doing what I truly, truly enjoy. Yes, I have an 8 to 5 job, but I'm doing, what I really, really enjoy doing now. It's like, I don't want to say the best time of my life, but I'm really enjoying this. And you have to say, I mean, you're diving and the things you've done, the business that you've created with the sea tours and everything, with Salty Dog Sea Tours. You have to be very happy with what you're doing these days. I mean,
yeah, last year was, and to have my daughter dive with me last year as well.
yes, absolutely.
So, and with my wife and daughter, all of us diving together, and all of us down Key West, with Mel Fisher. And then the same thing with Barry, and Brandon, to have my wife, my daughter, Maddie as well. I mean, that's the thing with the show. We've become one big family. And so you have different connections with different people. But me and Maddie, honestly, we're like brothers.
Yeah. Maddie's a good guy. You've seen on the intro of the show tonight. He's been on the show a few times with us, and I stay in touch with him and his wife Colleen, and just really, really good people. I really like Maddie a lot. And he's so genuine. I mean, he comes across. We see him on TV, and how excited he gets about everything, and he just seems so genuine with all of that. Maddie's a good guy, and
ask him if you get a chance next time you have him on. Ask him about the first piece of treasure he found when we were down in Cape Cod. And
all right,
it was electric. Like, he came out of the water with his hands in the air, yelling. He was so excited.
I'm writing this down.
It's not the sort of treasure you would think either. But
all right,
yeah, to the family, you ask him.
All right, I will. I mean, I wrote that down so I don't forget to ask him. Oh, that's awesome. Well, we're at about an hour, Tony, and like I said, I don't want to hold you up, and and we're gonna. I was kind of thinking that we'd keep this to a short show tonight, so I'll let you get going and enjoy yourself tonight. But I thank you so very much for sticking around and staying. I know that we kind of we lost having Brandon and Barry on tonight, but hopefully we can get that coordinated, and I hope that you can join us when we do, because I know that you were an integral part of that show. Actually, I would love for Maddie to come too. Yeah, I might throw that teaser out to him and just see. He's a busy man as well.
Yeah.
But I would love to have you come back, and then we can kind of go through the Whydah again with them and get a closer look at it, because this is a fascinating story. And I love, and I mentioned this the first time we had Barry on. I love the fact that he will not sell any of this treasure. He is preserving the entire thing for the decades to come, for the people to come in the future to enjoy and see. And that right there, I can't express how much I admire him for that, and his son for that. And it's just amazing, because the temptation with when you have millions of dollars worth of artifacts and treasure that you've pulled up, and not to sell a piece of it, that's just amazing. I really admire him for that. And and you guys, you've been friends for quite a while, I take, with him.
Yeah, and Barry's got an amazing team down there. He really does. I mean, Andrew, the archaeologist that works with the Whydah Museum down there. I mean, there's Jeff, John Martell, Todd. God, hopefully I don't forget anybody. Barry's wife, Margot. The whole team is phenomenal. And it's like with the Beyond Oak Island team. There's so many of them there, and it's a family. It really is. I mean, they're long hours. It's crazy conditions. Sometimes you get the absolute crap kicked out of you going out on the ocean on bad days. And they are just lovely people to work with.
And that's the thing. And I'm going to say real quick, folks, don't leave, because we're going to have a little bit more after Tony gets to enjoy and go eat, because he hasn't eaten yet today. We're going to stick around because we have a drawing that we're doing tonight. So don't leave just yet. For the folks that are watching tonight, we're going to continue on for at least a little while anyway. But that's the thing. Sometimes when you go out on those treasure, when you go out to dive, like we saw with you and Brandon going out, sometimes you dive down and you come back empty-handed, and there's probably many days like that, and you just have to, today's the day, right? You have to keep that idea that today's the day, and you keep going, you don't give up, and look at the reward for not giving up, and it's really paid off for them. And that's and that idea to be able to keep going after days of finding nothing, and then finding nothing, and then finding a little tidbit, it just keeps you going, right? I can only imagine that feeling of that.
Yeah. Well, a beautiful, wise lady once said to me, "He that expects nothing shall not be disappointed." And
there you go.
if you set yourself high expectations, you will be disappointed on a lot of days. Yep. But if you just go out there and today's the day, you'll find something. And it might be an old dive knife. Or, I mean, look at the Whydah, when they found JFK's compass.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And, anything, is a bonus. And you got to look, pretty much every day above ground's a good day.
Yes, for sure. It certainly is. Well, again, Tony, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me, Jeff. And, keep watching. Thank you for the support, everybody. And, if you can get a chance, hopefully, one of these other shows will get picked up, and maybe you'll come up and see me on Salty Dog.
I'm going to be up there this season. I am. I know I said that last year and I didn't make it, but this year it's already in the works. I've got several people to see while I'm up there, and you are definitely one of them. And I'm going to buy and get on that tour. I want to take your tour and go around and hear you explain all of this stuff. Hopefully, I know you're a busy man in the summertime, and you may not be available when I'm taking the tour, but I sure hope we get to meet while I'm up there and go have a beer over at the a pint over at the Mug and Anchor, or wherever you like to go. And I'm buying. So
that sounds fantastic. And the thing is, no matter who you get, whatever one of my skippers you get, you'll have a great time. You really will.
Yeah, that's what Tom said. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you again, guys. And thanks for all the support. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
All right, there's Tony. Wow, what a great time. I mean, Tony's such a great guy. He really is. And for him to come on tonight, even though like I said, he was busy all day today, And then he didn't even have anything to eat. He said, I haven't eaten anything all day. And now he's drinking a beer. So I hope he goes out and gets some food here real quick. But we do have the giveaway that we're doing. It's another one of these slate coasters that we got from Maury Vineyards. Uh-oh. What? Are you coming on here to do this with me, Linda, or? Yes. Okay. All right. Linda's going to come up. But wasn't that great? I mean, and I really appreciate all the wonderful questions that you had tonight. I really, it is, even though we didn't have Barry and Brandon, we had the opportunity to really get to know Tony a little bit better and ask him some questions. And I really appreciate all of you that did some really great stuff that you came up with. So, and I appreciate that very much. It's Maritime Tartan Oak Island ornament. Oh, okay. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. That was what we had. Okay. All right. Yes. And I thought let's see if I can find a picture of that. I know it was on our Facebook page, wasn't it? Let's see if I can find a picture of that. So pop in whenever you're ready, Linda, and we'll get that taken care of. And we've got some more stuff too while I have a moment. And I really do appreciate, I talk about helping support the show, and she just sent me a picture of it. Here we go. Thank you, Linda. She always helps out. I mean, what would I do without Linda and Jan and Tom and Henry? Oh my gosh. And Linda just does so much to help me. There she is. All right. So
lost. You would be absolutely lost.
I know. It's so true. I really would be. That's it right there. That's the Maritime Tartan Christmas tree ornament, Oak Island, that we're giving away tonight. She's got the little spinner on her phone. She's got all the names of everybody in there.
It's all on here, but it takes it forever to focus.
Yeah. Have you already done the spin?
No, I haven't, but I'm going to go ahead and spin it.
Okay. While you're doing that, I was just going to talk. I do mention about helping to support the show. You folks know that I have my Patreon channel. Oh, there it goes. It's going around now. All the names, and it just went out of focus for a second. The top of it, I can't see. I can see the spinner, but the name is. Oh, there we go. Debbie Gall. Debbie Gall is the winner. Now you have to be watching, right?
Yeah,
and
you have to be present, and you need to send me your address in a private message.
Yeah, in a private message so that she can send it. Is Debbie Gall here tonight? Is Debbie watching? We'll see. We'll give her a couple minutes to pop in because I know there's a delay. But as I was saying there, we have our Patreon channel, and I have several patrons, and I appreciate you all very much. And I have just started with the travel mugs. They call tumblers, I guess. That's what Jess Grollo calls them, tumblers. And so these are I have some. They're on sale now. And they've got the logo on it, J-Free 906, the logo, the new logo that has been designed by Jess did that for me, Grollo. She designed it. And these are awesome. I love them. So if anybody would like one, you can get a hold. I got the link in the description of the show down there. She is going to put up a link to where you can just go straight to get this mug. They're $25, and we're going to have a little extra for shipping on there so we can cover the shipping cost. Especially if you're in, our friends up in Canada area, because it really costs a lot to send things up there. But you can have one of these mugs, and it does go to help support the show. And I really do appreciate that. So if anybody wants one of these, there is a link down there for Blue 6 Laser with a Z, blue6laser.com. And eventually we'll have a link that takes you straight to where you can get one of these, and you don't have to go hunting for it in there. So we'll get that, or you can send her a message. How much time do we give Debbie? I don't see anything popping up just yet.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything either. And I thought she was on here early on. So I was scrolling back through 5 million messages.
I know there's been a lot of messages in here tonight.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see her unless she dropped out early or something.
Yeah, she must have. I maybe like 2 more minutes, and then I'll spin it again.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Give me a couple more minutes.
Next couple of minutes.
All right. If anybody has a Judy, Judy said I could not find the tumbler. She doesn't have them shown on the website. You just have to contact her. So use her website to send her a message and tell her you want one of the J-Free 906 tumblers. And she'll get that for you. She'll get your name and your information and she'll send it to you. That's how we have to do it until she gets the link there for it. So you just go to the website, do the contact information, and send her a message directly through that. You get her email address and you can tell her, just tell her you want one of the J-Free 906 mugs and she'll take care of everything from there and the shipping and all that for you. So, and I appreciate it. I really, how do I get your name on the spinner? You have a chance to win. Oh,
Rudy,
go ahead.
you have to be in our group. If you're in the Curse of Oak Island and beyond, then I post every week on Monday, and there'll be a picture of what we're giving away, and you just comment yes below it. You have until Friday at 5 o'clock to do that. So if you're in our group, you are welcome to comment, and that gets your name on the spinner.
Yep, and it's the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond Facebook group. So just go to Facebook and put that in there, and you'll find us. There's also a link in the description of the show. So if you look down in the description, you'll see a link there. It'll take you right to our Facebook page. It is a private group, so you when you go there, one of the admins, and Linda's our lead admin, but her or Jan or Tom or somebody will look at that and bring you into the group. And then you can, when you see the post for it, then just say yes. That's all you got to do is just type in yes and hit enter, and then you're automatically entered for the giveaway of that week. So,
Kat, you will have to contact Jess, because Jess is the one who does the shipping for those.
Yeah.
So if you go to Jess's website and tell her that you're interested in one and you live in Canada, and tell her where, then she will be able to tell you that.
Okay. I'm going to bring this up real quick and show everybody. Okay. This is her website. It's blue6laser.com. And all you have to do is go right up here. There's an email. Actually, I can tell you it's blue6laser with an S in the email address. Not the website has a Z for laser, but in her email address, it's blue6laser@gmail.com. So blue6, and I can put that in the chat here real quick. She's got a lot of tumblers. I mean, she can custom do them for you too. I mean, that's what she does. So blue6.
Got it.
You're way faster than I am. Thank you. All right. So blue6laser@gmail.com. Just email her and just tell her you want one of the J-Free 906 mugs. And like I said, the proceeds for that just go to help the show. It really does. And, and I appreciate it a lot. I really do. It like I said, it does cost, unfortunately, it costs quite a bit to do this. And it just helps to help fund that. And I appreciate all of my patrons and everybody that would, but she has a lot of stuff. Oh, she's got the Sempre Avanti. Thank you. She's got these going right now too. Those are really cool. Those are 25. That doesn't have anything to do with me. That's all.
Yeah, that's a buzzword from Rick and Marty. It's Italian and it means always forward.
Always forward. Yeah, that's something they say quite a bit on the show. So yeah, so there you go. So, but she's got a lot of different stuff, and like I said, she'll do custom things for you too. You send her a design, she'll get back with you and tell you how much, and away you go. So yeah, are they plastic or steel inside? They are steel inside. Steel outside.
Are steel.
Yeah, steel outside and inside. I don't know if you can see that. And then they got
the only thing plastic is the lid.
The lid. Yep. I've washed this thing over and over and over again. It hasn't damaged the engraving on it at all. So I hand wash everything. I don't use a dishwasher. So I don't know.
Do you have a dishwasher?
No, I don't have a dishwasher.
Okay.
I do. It's these right here. That's my dishwasher. I was
going to be insanely jealous if you had one in your RV.
Yeah, no, there's no dishwasher in the RV. Nope, don't have one.
Okay. I'm going to spin again.
All right, spinning again. Here we go. Yeah, they're really well made. I don't know. I don't think they're Yetis or whatever, but they're very well made. So, all right, the name will pop up here in a second once it slows down and stops. Hopefully this person is here tonight. And Connie Carter Fleming. Connie Carter Fleming. Are you here tonight watching the show? I saw Brenda's name, Brenda Dixon. It was like right there, and then it clicked one more. Brenda, almost so close, Brenda. Oh my gosh. I'm here,
There's
she
Connie.
says. There she is. All right. So yeah, contact Linda in a private message, and Linda will get that out for you.
Yep.
And we're gonna keep it going. We got some more stuff. What else do we have? We got some more coasters, and
I have 2 more slate coasters. I have a bunch more of these ornaments, some in other shapes, not all in the Oak Island shape. I have a couple of those
yeah,
from
do you see that?
Gretchen.
That's
Those are
from Gretchen Cornwall.
magnets
Yeah,
and ornaments, and they're
yeah.
just
You got a
they're
little magnet on the
beautiful.
back. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see the magnet on the back for hanging it up. Yeah, these are awesome.
Yep, mine's on my fridge.
My fridge is not metal. It's plastic. I mean, can you imagine? I know it's an RV, but
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, that went to put it on there and like, boom, and it fell on the floor. I'm like, okay, it's not metal. All right,
Okay,
whatever.
never mind. Yeah, we had a file cabinet in ours by our desk, so
Yep.
I put everything on the filing cabinet. Okay,
Ah,
Connie, if you will send me a private message with your address, I will get that in the mail to you.
mhm.
And we're thinking, you guys might think about this and tell me what you think. We're thinking about maybe doing giveaways on the rest of the recaps for the Curse of Oak Island this year.
Mhm.
Because I've
Yeah.
had several people donate things to us to give away. So we just thought that might be fun because Beyond obviously just has one more show.
Right. Yeah, we're going to be, and I think we're going to have. Well, I would love to revisit, and we will revisit with some of these folks. But yeah, we're going to be doing one more. I think are we having Jess and Mike on? Yeah.
Jess
So
and Mike
Jess,
Grolo will be with us next
yeah,
Friday.
the one who makes the laser engraving on these. But they've been on the Curse of Oak or the Beyond Oak Island episode of the when they're up there at Poverty Island. Excuse me, and so and I got to meet Jess, really nice. So yeah, we're going to be doing more of these. We have one more of those, and then we're going to start it up on the Curse of Oak Island recaps that we do on Wednesday nights now. And it goes the same way. You have to just go to our Facebook page and say yes in the post for that giveaway. When Linda puts up the picture of it and says we're going to give this away, that's the post you say yes in. You have to. It has to be within that post, and you're going to comment and say yes in the comments of that post. So that's where you. Jess is hysterical. Oh my gosh, and she is so. I love her to death. Oh my gosh, she's so funny. And I see Mike over there. When I met them, I was at, and I told the story before, but they were at a craft show up there. And when I went and met her, and I was talking to Mike, and then Jess is doing stuff, and he loves her dearly, but he just rolls his eyes sometimes.
Rolls his eyes.
They are a pair. They so are, and I just they become my new friends, and they're great folks. But we are 11 episodes into the Curse of Oak Island. We're assuming they're going to have 24 again this year, somewhere around 24, 25 probably. We assume that we don't know for sure. So yeah, you've got about 13 more chances or 13 chances as we
12
go
or
through
13.
that. Yep. Yeah. So let's see. What is
Yep,
they
and
are
I
cute
have
together.
plenty of goodies to start doing that with.
Okay. Yeah. I said just don't give away the Christmas present.
No.
The Big Woody.
No.
I still laugh at that. Marty, when I was out at Murray Vineyards and I was going through and it's a great place to buy Christmas presents, let me tell you. But when I was going
I'm
through,
very happy with mine.
yeah, Linda's like, I want a Big Woody, and I'm like, what?
Jeff was
What?
embarrassed.
Oh my gosh! And sure enough, there I am. I'm at Murray Vineyards, and Andy Johnson had given me an awesome tour, and it was absolutely wonderful. And then when I got done, of course, I went in the gift shop and I was looking at the wines they had after I did some tasting. And then looking at the shirts and all the things that they had in there. And these things that are made by, because Marty's a woodworker, and there's things in there that he has made that they sell. And one of them is this giant corkscrew, and he calls it the Big Woody. And they're all hanging up on a rack right there. And I go, that's what she was talking about. That's the Big Woody she's looking for. And then there was other things that they got, like
There's a charcuterie board and several different things.
Yeah, things like that. And those slate coasters and there's wooden coasters in there. And Marty makes all these, and then he signs them too. So there you go. So it's really cool stuff. If you ever get a chance,
Renee, it was pretty funny because I said, you know what I'd really like from you for Christmas? I'd really like a Big Woody. And he was
like, I did. I was like, did she just say what I said? And sure enough, they had them right there. Big Woody. Yeah. All right. So, oh my goodness. Yeah. But if you're ever in Traverse City, Michigan, you have to go there and check it out. It is a wonderful place. And the staff is so good. They're so nice. Andy and all the crew there. Yeah, they're just really cool people that, and they do a thing. I was hoping I could just see, Alex or Marty there, but of course, neither one of them were there at the time. And I think that the first tour, I actually got 2 tours. But the first time I was actually up in their conference room. I don't know if she was supposed to take me up there or not, but she did. And I was able to go into the conference room. You remember the episode of The Curse of Oak Island? This was like in season 2 or something like that, where somebody had a Roman sword that they said was connected.
I think it was season 4.
Okay. They had a Roman sword that they said was connected to Oak Island. And it turns out it wasn't, after all. But that sword is actually sitting on a shelf in there in the conference room. And I was able to go into the conference room and look at all the swords that Marty has hanging on the wall in there. And there's sitting on this shelf is that Roman sword that's sitting there. But it was so cool. But you have to go. Yeah, you really have to go check it out. It's a wonderful place. Marty made a table in the shape of Oak Island. Yes, he did. It's outside. I hope they bring that in the wintertime. I don't know if they do or not, but
surely.
Yeah, I took a picture. I took a couple pictures of it. It's actually on my YouTube video that I did of being at Murray Vineyards. But it's really cool.
If any of you have not been to Murray Vineyard and you want to know what the tour is like, Jeff did a whole YouTube video of that, and it's on our YouTube channel archived there. And you can go to J3 on YouTube and watch that. How long was it, Jeff? Like 45 minutes?
I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I'll bring it up here real quick because I'm just looking at it over here on the other screen. It's this one right here. It is 58 minutes. So it is kind of long, but it was a long tour. I mean, we were outside, we were inside.
Yeah, their tour, it is long. I mean, you get to see everything.
Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah. So it is 58 minutes long, but it was great. And Andy, like I said, Andy was wonderful. He was such a great tour guide, and I really enjoyed it. And like I said, we were outside talking about how grapes are harvested and grown and clipped and everything, and then all the way through the tour down in the basement, the Oculus as it opens up, and then the sky. It's like this. You got to watch. It's so cool. And Maddie was there with Rick and Marty one time, and Maddie was standing underneath the Oculus, like with his arms out. And I did the same thing. And I had her take a picture of me standing there. But it was fun. It really had a great time with the staff there. So that's the video. If you want to check it out, it's out on the YouTube channel. Gosh, I was looking the other day, and there's like 400 and some videos out here that I can't imagine that I've done that many. I never dreamed that I had done that many videos. I couldn't believe it. And they just go by so quickly. Having fun with
I'll go fetch it and put it on our page.
Okay. All right. That's cool. But anyway, so I'm going to wrap it up here, but thanks folks for being here with us tonight. And I apologize that we did not get Barry and Brandon on again. This is the second Friday in a row. We will get it rescheduled. Tony said he would come back and be here with us to take and go through those guys because I am truly interested in what the Whydah Galley, what they're finding there, and I didn't only touched on it tonight, but the side scan sonar of the actual ribs of the ship, they found it, and they don't. Let me back that up. They don't know for a fact that it's the Whydah yet.
Hope.
They hope it's the Whydah. It is about 100 feet long. The Whydah was 110. And so they're going to dive on it. And when they do, they will. And they were waiting for this season to dive on it. That when they get back this year, they're going to dive on it and find out. And I want to get more information from them. And I want to go to the museum they have up there. They actually have two. I want to go to the museum and check that out. That's in Cape Cod, I believe. The Whydah Museum. One of them is anyway. So, but we're going to get more. We're going to get more information and more shows coming up as we go through this stuff and more giveaways. And I tell you, folks, thank you so much for being here tonight and hanging out with us. Thank you for the great questions for Tony. And Linda, as always, thank you so much for helping out and keeping things rolling here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, really appreciate all your help and Jan and everybody else. So for next week, what do we got scheduled for next week? I do have, obviously, Friday night, we're going to be having Jess and Mike Grollo on, and we're going to be talking more about the new things they got going out on Poverty Island. And, of course, Wednesday night is the Curse of Oak Island recap of episode number 12. We'll be doing that. And I don't have anything scheduled for Thursday right now, do I?
Not that I know of.
I can take it first, yeah. Yeah, we're going to be diving into Bigfoot. We're going to be diving into all kinds of interesting stuff coming up. But I don't think I have anything scheduled for this coming Thursday, unless I find something to put on. But going to have some really interesting guests. And I hope you'll join us for those because it's always a great time. And I love the interaction with all of you out there. So have a good rest of enjoy your weekend. I'm going to enjoy mine. I'm getting out. I'm hoping to do a little metal detecting on the beach this weekend. I'm really looking forward to that. So
we don't want to know. No. It's going to be 50 freaking degrees below zero, and you're talking about metal detecting on the beach, and we don't want to know.
Okay.
We don't.
All right. Well, I could find a coin. Yes, I hope I can find a coin. I was just going to check the weather forecast. Let me see what it says. Saturday is going to be 65 and sunny, and Sunday is cloudy and 72.
Darn it.
I'm going to take the 65 and sunny on Saturday, I think, and go metal detect on the beach. And I'm going to film it, and I'll show you guys what I find. If I find anything, I'll let you know.
And
all right?
I hope that you have your metal detecting costume on.
Oh, yes. That. We'll see about that. Yeah, the metal detecting costume. All right. Yeah.
Yep.
So
think about that.
I will definitely. Oh, poor Jeff. Not. Yeah. I know. I'm sorry. I just couldn't stand the cold anymore. I'm like, I gotta go. I'm gonna be a snowbird, and that's what I'm doing. So anyway, all right, folks. I'm sorry. I'm out of here. Have a great weekend, folks. We'll catch you next time right here on the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream and J Free 906 podcast. Good night, everyone.